All right, Dad. Saturday morning. Been busy all week. Ended up doing some bunch of travel, so not getting much done this weekend. And because I do have more work to do, and more travel this coming week. So anyways, I wanted to get out here and do at least something. So I'm welded in that L piece. And then the next thing to go in is the bottom piece that closes that and folds over the floor. And so I may fit that, I might not. I might just go back in, go back to work. But anyways, I wanted to just show you that I finally did that after promising to do that for weeks and weeks and weeks. So it's there, and it came out just fine, and I have a little touch up to do just to make it look nice, but it's all welded in fine. Talk to you later. All right, Dad, there it is. I think I can call the sill job finished now. So time to do some cleaning up, getting ready to do some paint down the road. A few have a little more little things on my list to do, but this is the bigger one of all of them. So off we go. Howdy, Dad. Saturday morning. I'm out here working on this rear tire tub closing panel. It's all beat up, still beat up, but I've been doing a little panel beating over here to get that smoothed out. Gonna keep doing that. This whole piece here is low, so I'm gonna end up having to raise that a little bit, but that'll take me a little bit of time. But what I'm gonna try to do next here is this closing piece. There's a locking mechanism that fits into there, and then there's a little slide that locks it in. But you can see here, this is low all the way through here, just from over tightening or whatever the problem was when this was being used. So I can't get to that because, it's part of a bracket assembly here. So I can't knock that back down. So I think what I'm going to try here is I'm going to just made a piece of 16th inch steel here. Just going to slide it underneath here and then gently, best I can, tap down on this bracket here onto that piece. I'll do it on the sandbag and see if I can just slowly drive down that big dent, and at least get it closer, because that's not really going to be good enough, because you're going to have to put body fill on that. And right with this thing here, it's going to stress it, and so that body fill is just going to crack. So no way to do that properly other than to just try to drive that back up. So we'll see if my little trick works. I might have to, it just fits underneath that bracket, so I'll be able to drive it down a little bit, and then maybe I need to get something a little bit deeper or thicker to get it in when I start to get a little more space in there. But anyways, that's the plan for this morning. Talk to you later. All right, Dan, well, I've got this plate underneath there, and at least it fits just fine. I've got it shaped okay, but it's just not very effective. And so I've been able to sort of bang away on the edges here to try to spread the force of those blows, but I just can't get enough on the center. So I think I'm actually just going to take these off, just grind off the welds here, and then straighten out the bracket and do the body work underneath it, and then put the bracket back on. So it should be all fine. It just needs to be able to center up this hole here on the hole that's in the panel. So hopefully that goes smooth. All right, Dad, I got that bracket off. Just takes a little bit of grinding along here where it's put in. You can see it's all rusty down in there. Now I'll actually be able to get that panel sort of properly shaped. And I've got it just sort of sitting in some rust removal solution here. I'll try to be able to get those. I did just a little bit of penetrating fluid on those. There's two screws that mount this this holding bit here to the bracket, and they're frozen. They're all rusted on the back side. So in some ways I'm glad I got it out so I can clean it and get it sorted. And I'll start with just soaking it for a little bit. Try to get that out. I need to get into the house and get into my box of random bits, see if I can find some of those closing pieces there, the locking mechanism there. They're all beat up, I'm sure, but at least I can see them for fit and make sure that it all comes together okay. But anyways, I'm gonna return to this and get this looking better. All right, Dad, got some panel beating here. I took off this brace that comes back in here, bracket, so I can get access to the back side. That helped me a lot. It looks okay now, just needs to be cleaned up just a little bit more. You can see there's just a few little nuggets down in there that need to be cleaned up, but that part looks just fine. I need to move across over to here and to the other side now, but overall the fit of this is starting to shape up, and gaps are pretty tight right now, which I'm a little worried about. If I put paint on there and all the rest of that, then the gaps aren't going to survive. So still a little bit of work to do on that side. I have a seal for it, and I'm not quite sure yet how to install it. It's this kind right here, and you can sort of see that it's sort of an arrow shaped. And so I'm not exactly sure what the best way to do that is, so I'm going to do some research on that and see what gives there. But this side here is just a little bit proud because that bracket actually interferes with fouls on that flange underneath there. So I just need to make an adjustment. I'll take it off anyways. And when I put it back on, I'll make sure that that removes that. Anyways, a little bit of progress. All right, Dan, I've taken those two brackets off. You can see one of them is in there soaking in the rust solution. So I'm glad I've taken these off. They're quite pitted underneath here. This one's actually the better of the two, but certainly at the top and the bottom of that bracket, there's a good amount of rust building up. So I've done that on this side here. I've just put down some paper towels, and I'll just put some phosphoric acid on there, let it soak in, and then I'll put some saran wrap so it can sit overnight and stay wet. That will leach out most of the rust out of the pores and let me clean it up nicely. Let's see, what else I've done here? Not much, actually. Just seems like the whole day was spent sort of doing body work on here, hammer dolly work. It looks pretty decent now. I'll do the same on this. I'm just getting ready to go in for the day, so I'll let some time do some work too. All right, I'll bring you back tomorrow. Morning, Dad. Sunday morning. Out here just sort of rescuing this panel from the phosphoric acid treatment. On this side here, I've taken off that paper towel, so it's just sat wet with this phospho stuff here. It's good stuff for getting rid of rust. It's got some other antioxidants in there, but it's not really sufficient to keep it wet even overnight. What that does is it takes the rust, converts it into a black form, iron oxide, that's magnetite type, and people think that it takes care of the rust by just treating it, but the reality is what it does, all it does is it just takes the surface of the rust that's in the pore and converts it to the black form. Underneath, it's still rust. And so here's an example where it sat overnight, and if you look at it, it's just black on the surface. And you would think that it's okay. But all you have to do is take a wire brush to it and just scrape off that surface black stuff, and underneath it's still rust. And you can just see it's turning orange as I sort of work that with a wire brush. So it needs work still. So I'll basically wipe this down, and I'll get some more Ospo on there, and I'll work it with a wire brush until I see no more rust coming out of that. In 5 minutes, this orange stuff will be black, so I can always tell when I've got fresh rust coming out of the pits. So I think I've mentioned it before, this car was pretty thoroughly sandblasted. Every available space that could be blasted was blasted at some point, and then painted over with this gray primer. So places like this where the sandblaster wouldn't get to wasn't sandblasted, so it just continued to rust, and of course there's no protection underneath there. If anything, that sandblasting got in underneath and took off any protection and just left behind a exposed surface. So I'm going to continue to do this morning and try to get all the rust out of this, and then go back to panel beating on it. But for now, you can sort of see how easy it is for that rust to hide away and start rusting. You can see as the pitting is, if I wouldn't have got in here and did some pit work, it would have just continued to get worse. And it'd be hard to get paint on it, so it would just continue to rust away. So anyways, that's sort of where I'm at this morning. Okay, there's probably half-hour panel beating on that one, trying to get that smoothed out. Just started to run the file over it. Now can start to see the differences that my hand can pick up. These little bits here, these little high spots over here, I wasn't really picking up, so the file's really good at doing that. Then some low spots, and so I just need to do some dropping, lifting here and dropping here, just to sort of fill in these spots, and that will look on its way to looking good. All right, Dad, this is just me improving that. I don't know how much you can see there, but you can see the shiny bits are looking okay, and then there's some low spots you can get from what the primer remains. I just use this body file and just rub it very lightly over top there, and it takes off the little scratches and takes off the primer. So that's a good way of revealing highs and lows. By the time I'm finished this, it'll be pretty much perfect, and it'll be okay, good. Okay, there, a little bit of progress. Doesn't look too bad, feels really good. A little low here, I need to go on the back side and raise that up a little bit. All these other little changes in color here just are not, you can't feel any of that stuff. So that's almost done, and then I'll move on to doing this other section, and probably won't get it all done today, but it's come a long ways already. And you can sort of see the light there. These are very, very small differences. I think I'll probably finish up my video here today and send this along to you. Hope you're doing okay. I'll give you a call a little bit later this afternoon, and you take care. Bye.